The moon hung low and full above the jagged peaks, its cold silver gaze illuminating the sleeping village of Darson. The air was sharp with the scent of pine and the distant tang of smoke. In the shadow of the mountain, the villagers slept uneasily, as if the night itself held its breath. Aaron moved quietly along the narrow path leading into Darson, his boots muffled by moss and fallen needles. His cloak, patched and stained, hid the scars that crisscrossed his arms and the old sigil burned into his shoulder. He kept his head low, wary of prying eyes. He had traveled far, driven by dreams he could not escape and a promise he could not break. From the edge of the woods, Celine watched him. She crouched atop a boulder, her eyes reflecting the moonlight with an animal brightness. Her hair, wild and dark, was braided with feathers and beads. A bow rested across her knees, and a knife gleamed at her hip. She was the huntress of Darson, the silent guardian, and she trusted no one who came from beyond the valley. Aaron paused at the village gate, sensing her gaze. He did not look up, but his hand drifted to the hilt of his blade, a gesture born of habit, not threat. He passed beneath the archway, footsteps echoing softly in the night. Celine followed, silent as a shadow. She moved through the trees with practiced ease, every sense attuned to the stranger's presence. She had seen men like him before, haunted, hunted, marked by fate. But there was something different about Aaron, something that stirred the old stories in her blood. The night deepened. A chill wind swept down from the mountains, carrying with it a sound that did not belong, the guttural snarl of a beast, too close, too hungry. The first scream shattered the silence. Aaron spun, drawing his blade in one smooth motion. Villagers poured from their homes, panic in their eyes. Celine was already moving, arrow nocked and ready. The beast crashed through the outer fence, a hulking shape of fur and muscle, eyes burning with unnatural light. "Get back!" Aaron shouted, placing himself between the creature and the nearest child. Celine's arrow flew, striking the beast's shoulder. It howled, spinning toward her. She darted aside, drawing its attention. Aaron lunged, slashing at its flank. Blood sprayed, hot and dark. But the creature fought on, relentless. The battle was brief and brutal. Aaron's blade found the beast's heart, and it collapsed with a final shuddering breath. The villagers stared in stunned silence as the stranger wiped blood from his face. Celine approached, bow lowered but wary. "You fight like a man with nothing left to lose," she said, voice low and steady. Aaron met her gaze. "I fight because I must." She studied him, noting the old wounds, the haunted eyes. "Who are you, Aaron?" He hesitated, then spoke. "A wanderer, a man running from his past." She nodded as if she had expected no less. "You saved my people, but that beast was no ordinary predator. Something brought it here. Something or someone." Aaron looked away, troubled. "I have seen such creatures before. They are drawn to blood, to old magic." Celine's eyes narrowed. "Then you know what this means. The old blood stirs. My ancestors spoke of a time when the valley would be threatened, when the last huntress would stand alone, unless she found another worthy to share her burden." She stepped closer, her presence fierce and unyielding. "I am that huntress. You are not of my people, but fate has brought you here. Your blood is strong, your spirit unbroken. I demand that your bloodline continue, with mine." Aaron stared at her, stunned. "You would bind yourself to a stranger?" "Not a stranger," she replied. "A survivor, a warrior, the only one who can help me face what is coming." The villagers watched, uncertain but hopeful. The moon shone down, silent witness to the pact being forged. Aaron bowed his head. "If this is what fate demands, then I accept." Celine smiled. "A rare and fleeting thing." "Then come. We have much to prepare. The spirits will not wait, and the darkness grows ever closer." Together they turned toward the forest, leaving the village behind. Above them the moon watched, patient and knowing as two destinies became one. The forest loomed ahead, ancient and alive, as Aaron and Celine left the village behind. The world they entered was not the one they'd known by daylight. Here, Shadows moved with purpose, and every branch seemed to whisper secrets. The air was thick with the scent of moss and old bark, and the moon's silver light filtered through the canopy in shifting patterns. They walked in silence at first, the weight of their pact heavy between them. Aaron's mind replayed the battle with the beast, the look in Celine's eyes when she spoke of bloodlines and fate. He glanced at her. She moved with quiet confidence, every step sure, as if the forest itself guided her. A meeting beneath the boughs, their path wound deeper, the trees growing older and thicker. At last they reached a clearing where the roots of a colossal elder tree twisted above the ground, forming a natural archway. Celine stopped, laying her hand on the bark. "This is where my mother brought me when I was a child," she said softly. "The spirits of the forest dwell here. If we seek their blessing, we must offer truth." Aaron nodded, uncertain but determined. "What must we do?" Celine knelt, drawing a circle in the dirt with her knife. She motioned for Aaron to join her. Together they sat within the circle, facing each other as the wind stirred the leaves above. "Speak your name and your purpose," Celine intoned. Aaron took a breath. "My name is Aaron. I seek redemption and a place to belong." Celine's eyes searched his as if weighing the truth. "I am Celine, last daughter of the line of guardians. I seek to protect my people and to ensure the valley endures." The wind rose, swirling around them. The branches overhead creaked and a faint glow shimmered along the trunk of the elder tree. Aaron felt a presence, ancient, watchful, neither kind nor cruel. "The spirits listen," Celine whispered. "Now, we must prove ourselves worthy." The rivals' challenge, a sudden rustle in the undergrowth, made them both tense. From the shadows stepped a figure, tall and broad-shouldered, with a mane of russet hair and eyes like storm clouds. He wore a cloak of wolf pelts and carried a spear tipped with obsidian. "So, the huntress brings a stranger to the sacred grove," he said, voice rough with disdain. "I am Kieran, rightful heir to the Guardian's legacy. You would bind yourself to an outsider, Celine?" Celine stood, her posture defiant. "The spirits will decide who is worthy, Kieran. Not you." Kieran's gaze flicked to Aaron, sizing him up. "Then let the trials begin. If he survives, I will yield. If not, the bloodline ends with you." Aaron rose, meeting Kieran's glare. "I have no quarrel with you, but I will not back down." Kieran smirked. "Then come. The forest will judge us all." The first trial, the path of courage, Kieran led them along a twisting path, deeper into the heart of the woods. The air grew colder, and the trees pressed close. At last they reached a ravine spanned by a single fallen log, slick with moss. "Cross," Kieran challenged, gesturing to Aaron. Aaron stepped onto the log, heart pounding. The drop below was dizzying, the rocks sharp and unforgiving. He moved, slowly, arms out for balance. Halfway across, a gust of wind threatened to topple him, but he steadied himself, focusing on the far side. He reached the end and leapt to safety. Celine followed, graceful as a deer. Kieran crossed last, his steps heavy but sure. "Courage is not enough," Kieran said. "The next trial tests your heart. The second trial, the mirror of memory." They entered a glade where a pool reflected the moonlight with unnatural clarity. Celine knelt by the water, motioning for Aaron to do the same. "Look," she said. "See what you fear most." Aaron gazed into the pool. At first he saw only his own reflection. Then the water rippled and images appeared. Memories of blood and fire, of friends lost and promises broken. He saw himself, alone and weary, haunted by regret. He clenched his fists, refusing to look away. "I will not let my past define me," he whispered. The water stilled. Celine smiled, approving. "You have faced your shadow. Now the final trial awaits." The betrayal revealed, as they left the glade, a figure darted from the trees, a young villager, breathless and afraid. "Celine," she cried, "the elders have turned against you. They say you have brought doom upon us by consorting with an outsider. They have sent for Kieran to take your place." Kieran's face twisted with anger. So they seek to decide by force, not trial. Celine's jaw tightened. We finish what we started. The spirits will judge, not the elders. Aaron nodded. We stand together. The final trial. Unity. The path led them to a circle of standing stones, ancient and worn. The air crackled with energy. Celine, Aaron, and Kieran entered the circle, and the ground trembled. A voice echoed from the stones, deep and resonant. Only those who stand as one may claim the future. Prove your unity. Kieran hesitated, pride warring with purpose. Celine reached out, offering her hand. We cannot face what is coming alone. Aaron placed his hand atop hers. After a long moment, Kieran joined them, his grip strong. Light flared from the stones, bathing them in warmth. The spirits spoke again. You have chosen unity over division. The pact is sealed. The way forward. The light faded, and the three stood together, changed. Kieran bowed his head. I yield, Celine. The bloodline will continue, as the spirits have decreed. Celine smiled, relief and hope mingling in her eyes. Thank you, Kieran. Aaron looked to the horizon, where the first hints of dawn touched the sky. The trials are over, but the true test lies ahead. Celine nodded. Together, we will face whatever comes. They left the circle, bound by promise and purpose. The forest watched, silent and approving as a new chapter began. The first rays of dawn crept over the mountain peaks, painting the sky in hues of lavender and gold. The village of Darson, still scarred by the attack, lay quiet in the valley below. Aaron, Celine, and Kieran stood at the edge of the ancient forest, the memory of the trials still fresh in their minds. Though the spirits had blessed their pact, a sense of foreboding lingered in the air, a storm gathering at the edge of the world. A shadow returns. It was Kieran who first noticed the signs, the unnatural silence of the birds, the way the wind seemed to carry whispers from the north and the faint, acrid scent of smoke on the morning breeze. He knelt by a patch of disturbed earth, tracing claw marks with his fingers. This wasn't here last night, he murmured. Something's moving. Through the woods. Celine joined him, her eyes narrowing. The beast we slew was only the beginning. I feel it in my bones. Something greater stirs. Aaron, standing apart, felt the old ache in his shoulder where the sigil had been burned. It throbbed now, as if warning him. He remembered the stories his mother had told him, of a darkness that once swept across the land, leaving only ruin in its wake. We need to warn the village, Aaron said, his voice tense. Celine shook her head. No. If we bring panic, we lose our only advantage. We must find the source and end it. The enemy revealed. They moved swiftly through the forest, following the trail of broken branches and scorched earth. The path led them to a clearing, where the grass was flattened and blackened as if by some great fire. In the center stood a figure, cloaked in midnight blue, his face hidden by a mask of bone and silver. Aaron's breath caught in his throat. I know him, he whispered. His name is Auric. He was once my brother. Celine's eyes widened. Your blood? Not by birth, Aaron replied, voice heavy with regret. By oath. We fought together in the old wars, but he chose darkness when I chose to walk away. Auric turned, his eyes burning with unnatural light. Aaron, you survived. Barely, Aaron replied, stepping forward. Why are you here? Auric's laughter was cold and hollow. To finish what we began. The valley is weak. Its guardians are divided. I will claim its power, and you cannot stop me. Kieran stepped forward, spear at the ready. You will not pass. Auric raised a hand, and shadows coiled around his fingers. I have tamed the beasts of the dark. You are nothing to me. Celine drew her bow, her voice steady. You may command monsters, but you do not command fate. The battle for the valley. The ground trembled as monstrous shapes emerged from the trees, creatures twisted by Auric's magic, their eyes glowing with malice. Aaron drew his blade, Celine knocked an arrow, and Kieran hefted his spear. The battle was chaos. Aaron fought with the desperation of a man who had lost everything once and refused to lose again. Selene moved like the wind, her arrows finding their marks with unerring precision. Kieran was a force of nature, his spear flashing in the morning light. But the beasts kept coming, driven by Oryx's will. Aaron found himself face to face with his former brother, their blades clashing in a shower of sparks. "You could have ruled by my side," Oryx hissed. "I chose hope," Aaron spat back. "I chose life." Oryx's mask cracked, revealing a face twisted by rage and pain. "Then you will die with them." Selene, seeing Aaron falter, loosed an arrow that shattered Oryx's mask. Kieran hurled his spear, pinning Oryx's cloak to the earth. "It ends now," Selene declared, her voice ringing across the clearing. The final sacrifice, Oryx, wounded but not defeated, unleashed a wave of shadow that swept across the clearing. Aaron felt the darkness clawing at his mind, threatening to drag him under. "Don't let go," Selene called, reaching for his hand. Aaron grasped her fingers, focusing on the warmth of her touch. Together they stood against the tide, their spirits intertwined. Kieran, seeing their struggle, stepped into the heart of the shadow. "I am not afraid," he declared. "My strength is for the valley. My blood is for the future." With a cry, he plunged his hand into the earth, invoking the ancient magic of the Guardians. Light burst from the ground, shattering the darkness and driving Oryx to his knees. "No!" Oryx screamed, his power unraveling. Aaron approached, sword raised. "This is for all you destroyed." He struck and Oryx fell, the shadows fleeing his broken body. A new dawn, the beasts, freed from Oryx's control, fled into the forest. The clearing was silent save for the ragged breaths of the victors. Selene knelt beside Kieran, who smiled weakly. "The spirits, they heard me." "You saved us," Selene whispered, tears in her eyes. Aaron sheathed his blade, kneeling beside them. "The valley endures. Because of you." Kieran's eyes closed, a peaceful smile on his lips. "Protect it. Both of you." As the sun rose, the villagers emerged from the trees, drawn by the light. They saw their guardians standing together, united in purpose and hope. The legacy secured in the days that followed, the valley healed. The scars of battle faded, and new life blossomed. Aaron and Selene, bound by their trials, became the new guardians of Darson. They honored Kieran's sacrifice, planting a tree at the site of his final stand, a symbol of unity and renewal. The spirits, watching from the elder trees, whispered their approval. The bloodlines had merged, not through conquest, but through love and sacrifice. The promise of tomorrow, on the eve of the harvest festival, Aaron and Selene stood together beneath the elder tree, hands entwined. "The darkness will return one day," Aaron said quietly. Selene smiled, her eyes shining with hope. "And when it does, we will face it, together. Our bloodlines, our spirits, our love." The moon rose high, casting its silver light over the valley. The people of Darson danced and sang, their voices rising in celebration, and in the heart of the forest, the spirits watched over them, guardians of a promise that would endure as long as the mountains stood and the rivers flowed. The end.